Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Backlog Bunker, where I'm going to talk about another dropped game, which is Inazuma 11. And this, unlike Death Stranding, is a dropped game that saddens me a bit, because I love Inazuma 11 as a franchise. I've loved the anime since I was a young lad, and I still love the anime as a grown lad, so I've stuck with Inazuma 11 for a very long time, but I didn't actually play the game until, like, my first semester of college, and I gotta say, I hated what I played, because, for the most part, I'm not sure what I was assuming Inazuma 11 was going to be when I found out that it was a DS game, because I figured it wasn't going to be like the most robust of sports games, because the DS can't handle all that much. I know Madden 08 is on the DS, because Scott the Woz is always talking about Madden 08, but for the most part, I don't expect much when it comes to sports games in the DS. But I wasn't expecting exactly what I got from Inazuma 11. So the whole, like, dragging people on the field and whatnot was unexpected but unsurprising, because it's like, yeah, if you have a DS game, you're gonna have to be controlling people with the touchscreen. That's just how it's gonna work for the most part. And if you're controlling an entire team of people, it's just gonna have to work that way. That's just the way it is. And okay, fine. The part of Inazuma 11 that I was really not expecting and that I really wasn't in the mood for was the RPG parts. And it's getting a bit tiresome to keep bringing up how much I hate RPG bullshit, even though they are my favorite genre. But I really do mean it when I say that RPG mechanics can absolutely break a bad game, or not even matter in the face of a good one. Because Inazuma 11 is a game that absolutely does not make with its RPG mechanics. Because leveling up all of my characters and having to grind out battles is not something I want to do in a game where I'm trying to tactically move my soccer players around and use specific moves at specific times and try to make good shots, which is also pretty janky given that we're on the DS. And so a lot of mounting pressure started to build up, like the RPG mechanics, and I didn't want to engage in any of that bullshit. And then the touchscreen mechanics, which I didn't want to engage in any of that bullshit because, like I said, it was kind of janky. Even just making shots was like, okay, now I want to tap here specifically. Oh, wait, that was like a centimeter off of the screen where it's supposed to go? Whoops. But then it really started to get to me when I started to get to the soccer rules of the game. And now, I've played soccer before. I played it for 2 years when I was in middle school. But I am not well versed in the rules of soccer. Even when I played, I was a defender most of the time, so I was not engaged with what was going on in the vast majority of the frontwards part of the game. So when I got to Inazuma 11, and I was consistently being given a fucking yellow card or whatever, given a timeout because of offsides that the game had never explained to me, it started to grate a little bit, and then a lot of it, and then I dropped the game. Because from what I can understand, having looked it up, the whole offsides thing is you can't pass to someone who's in front of you if you're on the enemy team's side of the field. Or at least that's how it functions in the game, because the real world offsides rule is way more complicated than that. It's not just on the enemy sides of the field, it's also on the enemy sides of the field and how far away you are from the goal, and how far away you are from the ball, and how far away you are from the second to last player who's away from the goal, question mark. I skimmed it a bit, but the point is, it's way more complicated in real world than it is in the game, and in the game, it was impossible to understand how it worked, because it felt really inconsistent, because again, the game never explains it to you, and because, like I said, we're on the DS, and so things are really janky, if you're not able to pass someone who's in front of you to try and make a goal, you have to either pass people who are behind or to the sides of you, and that doesn't always work, because there are going to be people moving around randomly, because again, we're on the DS, and the only way you can manipulate people is by dragging and dropping, not dragging and dropping, like dragging and sliding people to go certain directions, which you either have to precog where the hell the enemy's going to be ahead of time, or you have to reliably wait for your teammates to go to the right places, which they won't be able to do most of the time, assuming they go too far or not far enough. So to make a long story short, trying to make any goals in the game was borderline impossible, not at all helped by the fact that levels were just not high enough. And so to make a long story short, I just dropped in Inazuma 11. I got like, 4 hours into it? I got up to the match where Raimon's playing against Jude's team for the first, like, real time. Not like the first time, that's obviously the beginning of the game. I mean, like, the first time they actually face him in the football frontier. And that match had a crazy difficulty spike, so I dropped the game there. And that's just where it was. And then I tried to play the Go games, because, like I said, I was doing this on 3DS, and so I figured if the Go games were there, I might as well try those too. But much like the anime for Go, I ended up dropping it, because the Go was more of the same, but also kind of worse. Because unlike Inazuma 11, Go did not have the benefit of having characters that I liked or an anime that I liked. So I ended up dropping Go as well, and then I just skipped every other game because it's all going to be more of the same, isn't it? And of course, up to this point, I've talked about Inazuma 11 Victory Road on the Backlog Bunker, and that's a game that I more accurately associate with Inazuma 11, because that game plays like how the anime looks. And so I'm actually excited for when that game hopefully comes out, but knowing the position level 5 has been in recently, cross my fingers. If level 5 ever does recover, I hope that Victory Road is the form that Inazuma 11 games take for the foreseeable future, so that I can actually want to play them. And I'm not a guy who advocates for remakes very often, but God bless, could you please make the original Inazuma 11 in the Victory Road style, so I can play the game and enjoy it, and be able to, like, play the anime that I love so much, because Season 1 of the Inazuma 11 anime is, like, the peak of the entire show, and it never gets any better than that. It gets good, it's still good after that, but it never, ever peaks the same way the first season does. So while it's unfortunate, I do still want to see a remake of the original Inazuma 11 in the Victory Road style. We can skip Go, though, because Go sucks.